Hi, and welcome to episode number 208 of the Savvy Social Podcast. This is a show dedicated to helping online entrepreneurs and business owners learn how to use social media as a tool to grow your business. I'm your host, ANDREA Jones, and I'm fiercely committed to helping you understand both the how and the why of social media marketing so that you can create connection, build community, and make your difference in the world. This podcast is brought to you by Sendable, which is the all-in-one social media management tool that my agency uses every day to schedule posts and analyze our clients' results. You can try them out for yourself today by going to onlinedrea.com/Sendable. Now, I'm super excited to dive into today's conversation with Will Perry. We're going to talk all about TikTok and TikTok ads. Y'all know I'm freaking out about TikTok. I'm obsessed. I love it. But before I bring Will on the show, just a reminder that we also have a free course for those of you getting started in your social media journey. Check it out. Learn how to build a social media strategy that works for you. And it's one that you can apply to TikTok as well. You can find that free course at onlinedrea.com/free. We like to think of it as our Costco sample version of what's in our programming. So give it a little taste. All right. So today we have Will Perry on the show. Will is the CEO and CMO of Reason Agency, which is an e-commerce growth consultancy. He is dedicated to accelerating growth for e-commerce businesses through 13 years of experience and Reason's unique and unequaled optimization strategies. With that, Will, welcome to the show.
Yeah, glad to be here with you.
I'm super excited to dive in. Just talking agency to agency even is really exciting for me.
For sure.
But let's start at the beginning. Why e-commerce and why did you start your agency?
It probably really stems from the roots of, having a sales background, and I just love selling things. I have a passion for selling online, and getting into e-com probably about 7 years ago specifically was really about this merger of my digital marketing background and my sales background. And it was the perfect place for me with regards to my personal skills. As you know, our world changes constantly. So the constant problem solving is something that always keeps me on my toes. And sometimes it's a challenge, but for the most part, I really enjoy it.
So why TikTok then from there? Because I know it's relatively new for a lot of us as agency owners. What sparked your interest in that platform?
If anybody remembers May 25th, 2021, anybody who knows that date knows what I'm talking about. So iOS, right? So the iOS drop on Facebook, I wouldn't go as far to say fearful, but fortunately, we've already been testing other channels for years, right? So we had been testing TikTok for a couple years before, about a year and a half or so before Snapchat ads and all these things. And as an agency owner and in e-com, so much of the world is reliant on Facebook, right? And so when all this iOS stuff started happening, we were really seeing the need to even pivot how we adjusted our strategies in order to be able to help e-com brands. And so that's when we, probably going back about 7, 8, or 9 months ago, or even more, we really started taking it significantly more seriously. And, even of recent, even in the last few weeks, Facebook is experiencing some challenges on the ad side, even again right now. And so it's a testament to the fact of those who try to be prepared or to be proactive or think ahead, we're sure as heck glad, that we are, because we're working with, several 8-figure brands running their TikTok, ads and things like that. And, we never would have been in that position, had we not diversified our own strategies, So, the big thing is with TikTok right now, the competition is so minimal, and I'll sort of leave that as the nugget that we can start to build off of. But that's really the competitive advantage that a lot of brands can have right now advertising on the platform.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask is, what is the difference that you're seeing between Facebook and TikTok ads? And is the biggest difference just the competition right now?
A couple things. So right out of the gate, competition for sure. So if we think e-com or any other sort of major service provider, whether you're running, whether you have a solar business and you need to get leads to get solar, or we're running creatives for even like an insurance offer, right now, or like grants and things like that. But nonetheless, like there's if even think ad agencies, right? So like the amount of digital marketing agencies that are running ads on Facebook to get clients versus the amount of agencies who are running ads on Facebook to get clients through TikTok, I mean, night and day difference, right? So there's just that competition for real estate and attention. The second thing, which is really down to us, marketing nerds here, is the CPM. And the CPMs are so much less expensive on TikTok. And for anyone who's out there, any of your listeners or anything like that, all of the major ad platforms charge on CPM. So basically cost per impression. And so that cost per impression is much less on TikTok, almost 3 to 4, even 5 times less than certain target audiences than what we're even seeing on Facebook right now. So it's just an early indicator of the opportunity for ROI, like Facebook was in 2015, kind of thing. And I think that's 2 of the biggest pieces right out of the gate for sure.
Okay. So when we think about the lower CPM cost, I'm wondering how that's translating into return on ad spend. So are we also seeing people take action on TikTok? Because it doesn't really seem like an action taking platform. When you think about Facebook, people are used to like clicking around. TikTok is more like scrolling and consuming. So are we seeing the same results on that end as well?
Yeah, I mean, it is a great question because the level of intent from conversion is absolutely different. So I don't want to, try to fool anybody on that. Like Facebook has become such a high intent platform where, conversion rates are pretty significantly high, right? Depending on the industry, of course. There's no doubt that the conversion rate from TikTok is a little bit lower. However, like where we've really seen success is with higher ticket, e-com products, or even higher ticket. Like if you sell an online course, for example, doing your lead gen through TikTok, where you can get leads less expensively than what you can on Facebook. When you're selling $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 course, like those numbers can back out way more for you there. Absolutely, people are buying, through TikTok ads though. Like we have a blueprint that we share with a lot of brands and following best practices that we've developed and that we've garnered from, the industry and things like that as well. And, we're definitely seeing, sales that we're driving through on TikTok. And, we've even got like a brand that we just launched the other day that's sort of a women's personal care brand where we're already getting, 4X, ROI. And years ago, when brands would come to me and they're like, I need a 3X or a 5X return on ad spend, I'm like, time out. Like, that's not even that possible anymore. Yeah. But that's why I'm so hyped on TikTok because this is the most nerdy I'll try to be because I don't want to like blow it over.
Bring on the nerdiness. I'm here for it.
Okay, sweet. So like return on ad spend is calculated by 4 data points: CPM, CPC, conversion rate, and average order value. And so if we can overcome that first obstacle to return on ad spend right out of the gate, which is CPM, we have such a better opportunity as advertisers to get an ROI from our ads. And so that's one of the biggest, pieces here is that like if you can crack the code on TikTok, because the CPMs are lower while the going is good, you can get after it a little bit right now. And then eventually a bunch of advertisers will flood it and we'll move on to the next one.
I know. As marketers, we tend to ruin things sometimes.
Yeah,
we do.
Sure.
But what I love about TikTok is that there's this built-in discovery piece that I think translates really well into ads and ad creative. So I'm curious about how you're working with your clients on the creative side of these ads, because you almost have to know the TikTok culture to have ads that fit in with the rest of what's happening on TikTok.
Yeah, one of the things that would be really important, for the community here and for listeners, like if you're wanting to test out TikToks, like absolutely follow the trends, right? So like that's kind of what you were alluding to there is you have to have trending music, sort of trending editing styles, trending hashtags, We all know the robot voiceover, one where like we've all heard it. That is, you want to be following these sort of compelling trends, because if anything right now, as an advertiser, we're seeing really TikTok set the tone, if you will, or the next wave of like advertising, where we're using that model on Facebook really in a lot of ways, or at Instagram in a lot of ways, where we're literally creating TikToks or TikTok ads for Facebook, because to your point, TikToks are so much more engaging. And so when you really sort of understand how to work with creators, which is the next part to answer your question, how to work with creators to develop engaging content first instead of ads, then you will have success on TikTok. And also you will have more success on Facebook or Instagram as well. Where this is where like brands and advertisers really ruin Facebook ads, is that when we started putting too much branded content in front of people, people stopped paying attention. But if you focus on being very native or natural with your content, giving value or capturing attention, natively, you will have success still on paid social, whether it's Facebook or TikTok.
Yes.
Didn't mean to go on too much of a rant there, but hopefully that helps.
I'm loving this, because I think it really takes us back to the core of marketing. And I do find that we got really comfortable with Facebook ads, and there's like a formula to it. And people are starting to tune it out, just like they fast forward through commercials, right?
Yep.
And so we're coming back to this idea of creating content that's creative first, and just using ads as a way to amplify it and get it in front of more people, which I think is such a beautiful thing to see as a marketer, because I don't want to see an ad that looks like an ad. I want to watch a commercial, right? Yeah, exactly. I want to see some interesting content. So I love that. To piggyback off of that, I'm curious about the kind of CTA, or the call to action in the content itself. What are you finding the most successful? On Facebook, for instance, I'm very familiar with running ads to, for audience views or for a larger audience, and then retargeting that based on those views to have them opt into an offer. Is the process the same on TikTok, or what differs?
Yeah, just straight sale, really. So it's really straight sale funnels where, I think we've all probably seen like the general concept of the unboxing video, right? So somebody receives this shipment in the mail, they've got this skincare set, and they're like, oh, this is how the 3-step skincare set works, da-da-da. And then it's like, hey, get 30% off at my secret link here in the ad. And then it goes direct to a sales page or a product page or something like that. At least on the e-com side, that's how we're running it. Just straight. That's what we would call just straight sale. On the lead generation side, if it's more like a service, agency type of business, or, something where you're running lead gen, you would then, for sure run that to an opt-in page. But yeah, you're basically on TikTok, you are running ads for conversion just straight away to get the purchase, and running that ad or directing that ad or that link directly to a sales page in order to essentially acquire the sale. So pretty simple funnel structure from that side of things. So hopefully that helps answer your question.
Yeah, it does. And I like how simple it is. I do find that, with Facebook ads kind of dominating the industry for so long, I'm just curious to see how other platforms are adapting and kind of changing. And just on the organic side, TikTok is changing everything. Like you said, we're creating TikToks and putting them on other platforms.
Yeah.
So it really is shifting how we approach these platforms anyways. I'm curious about the organic side as well. Do you find that having those videos on the accounts make a difference, or are you running ads on accounts that aren't creating a ton of content?
Yeah, so sort of two ways. Like we do leverage what's called Spark ads, where essentially you can work with the influencer to sort of run the ad through their account, which will sort of piggyback a little bit up on what you mentioned earlier about how to develop the creative. The one thing that's really cool about TikTok is you can actually use the creator, what's called creator marketplace, to work directly with creators to develop the content. And then you sort of negotiate directly with them, like, I'll pay you 100, 200, sometimes more for, videos, of course, when you're working with someone who has a lot of influence. But that'll sort of tie that all together is you don't necessarily have to work with this mega influencer or something like that or type of influencer in order to get the content. Because then you can then acquire that content from them. If you're using sort of this winning ad formula framework, best practices, you're working directly with them to give them the script, you're sending them the product. They're doing like an unboxing or testimonial type review video for you, following, some of these music trends, editing trends, things like that. And then you just simply have the ability to upload that as a video, just like we're all used to. Now to the organic side, what I would say is when this is kind of like old school, I almost remember this conversation when it was like Google paid search and Google organic. Which one should you do? Yeah. Like, that's probably like 2010, 2011, like conversation. That's kind of where I see TikTok at right now is that like, there's so much leverage when you can combine the paid and the organic together because the virality of these videos on TikTok right now is just insane, right? Like the organic reach is just completely unmatched from any other paid social platform right now. And so like, if you're running ads and you've got this organic where like you're getting hundreds of thousands of views on videos, it's absolutely driving sales. And so, that's where working with some of the right, even micro influencers, like we're not even for us when we're developing content for the brands that we work with, we're looking for micro influencers, 5, 10, 50,000, they clearly have experience developing content. We can continue to work with them ongoingly. It's way more affordable. Like nobody can afford to pay an influencer 10 grand every time to just produce one video that may or may not work. Right. And the thing with TikTok is like, you need so much content that you need a way of being able to produce a lot of creative in order to leverage the platform. So hopefully that helped tie the two things together a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do see that with TikTok. It's a little bit of the wild, wild west right now in that, we don't know exactly what works on the organic side, but we do know producing a lot of engaging content works. And we see videos go viral all the time because of that. So to be able to capitalize on that and paid ads is definitely an interesting strategy that I hope a lot of people will kind of leverage and try as time goes on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when we think about TikTok ads as well, from a success point of view, with Facebook, we do have some metrics that we look at. If I were running a webinar funnel, for instance, I'd know I'd want a certain cost per lead. I know I want a certain, conversion on the web page, and then an attendance rate. Like, do we have some of those industry standard stats going currently, or is it still the wild, wild west out there?
Yeah. I mean, for example, like even brands that, have proven offers and things who, might be spending 6 figures and whatnot on Facebook and everything, like you still have to establish those KPIs on a new channel like TikTok because, it is so new, right? Like not very many brands have data to sort of back up on right now. Selfishly, as a marketer, the brands that I would feel the best about are ones that do have proven offers who, have messaging and creatives or assets that are converting and things like that. So if I was a brand who's had success with Google and Facebook and YouTube and all these things, it's a no-brainer to get on TikTok for sure. If I'm someone who's like trying to figure things out, like it's going to be tough. Like just like anything else, it's going to be tough because you don't have anything to base anything on. And so there's a lot of guessing, in the beginning. For sure, you're going to start with best practices and you can lean on experience and all these things, but there's a lot of guesswork, even for experienced marketers and things that would go into that. But yeah, so I would say to do a better job of answering that question would be really establishing KPIs, overall. If I'm a brand that's looking to get on TikTok, hopefully I know what my conversion rates are through paid social, for example, which is not as high intent as Google. So at least I have a benchmark that I can compare to. But I would say, generally speaking, we're still looking for 2 to 4% conversion rates at least with CPMs, we know that CPMs are lower than Facebook. So if we're able to beat that, we definitely have plenty of ad creatives that are, in the 1, 2, and 3% click-through rate ranges. So it really just comes down to that mix of developing high intent messaging that helps with sort of leads to the potential for higher conversion rates, on the 2% or greater sort of side of it. But if I'm a new brand, I have to establish that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm glad that you talked about the success on other platforms as well and kind of bringing that to TikTok, because that does play a huge role in the campaigns. I mean, if you know what works somewhere else, then kind of tweaking it a little bit for a new platform is a lot easier than starting from scratch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you running TikTok ads for your own company?
For our company, we are not. So that probably makes me look bad. But we do so well in a variety of ways on Facebook and Google and LinkedIn and things like that we haven't needed to. If anything, actually, we run Facebook ads to get TikTok clients. I know that sounds like counterintuitive, but we haven't really needed to. Like we get, business in so many different ways, referrals, and we also have our Done With You coaching program and things like that. So we haven't really needed to. It's kind of the classic case where I'm sure you get this, where the people who manage social media for other people are typically the ones with the worst social media following, right? Because they're so focused on running stuff for everyone else. That's sort of like the blessing and the curse is, fortunately for someone like myself and our team, we get to test out so many different strategies for so many different types of brands. And, and that's kind of the cool part, where we, focus on sort of that, direct to consumer sort of approach.
Yeah, it is a classic. I think the phrase is the cobbler's children have no shoes or something like that, where as marketers, don't look at our marketing. I always tell people that too, because I'm constantly, I test my own stuff way more than I would do a client's. It makes no sense. Like, don't try to copy what I'm doing. It's not like I'm a testing ground for sure.
Same.
So what do you see happening next for TikTok? You kind of mentioned that there's a lot of space right now for advertisers. There's, a lot of potential because, people aren't taking advantage of ads. Do you see that changing in the near future?
Yeah. So, and we're just in the very early stages of this, but some advertisers have gotten access to TikTok shopping ads. I wish that I had better information for our podcast today, knowing that it won't really launch for a couple of months. But with TikTok shopping, that is the next up and coming feature through TikTok. So, we've all run sort of Google ads, or, we've run dynamic product ads, for example, through Facebook, which is kind of like a shopping style of ad. And so I'm really interested to see how these TikTok shopping ads perform, because so many people were used to the behavior of buying through Instagram on tagged products and things like that. So it's so new. I literally don't have, I'm the worst source of information for this topic right now, but it's something that we're very keen on testing and things like that. So that aspect for sure. The second aspect is really just how many advertisers start migrating budget to TikTok and really testing out the channel for themselves to see if it can make up for sort of drops in performance or drops in sales that a lot of brands have seen, from Facebook. So I really think over the next year, we're really going to start to see a wave of brands, service-based brands and direct-to-consumer brands who are testing out the channel to see if it can be a viable place for them to advertise.
Yeah. And kind of on a different note, I'm curious about, the rules around advertising on TikTok. So, so Facebook, like you mentioned, has changed a ton of rules recently. And as marketers, it's been a frustrating experience. We have so many more limitations. Ultimately, it could be better for the end consumer. It's tough to say. Yeah. But with TikTok, do they have some of the same rules, regulations, and policies in place? Or is it more open and flexible?
Yeah, if anything, actually, one of the main differences with TikTok is they're actually a little bit more strict with their sort of compliance, more so on the product type. One category of that, for example, is like we run a lot of traffic for a brand that has like a juice cleanse, basically. And that sort of product type on TikTok is seen as being fit into the weight loss sort of category. And so the restrictions on weight loss are very tight. So we've actually had some difficulty getting that live. So some compliance issues, and, we're working through that, and anybody, is used to experiencing this. The one thing that I would say as the benefit that is different from Facebook, the customer service is 10 times better. Like we have dedicated agency reps we can actually talk to. We get on calls with them. Like they respond to messages. Like they don't just straight out of the blue, like, ban your accounts and all these things. Like that's one of the nice parts about being a premium agency partner, is that like we can get through a lot of compliance loopholes that, if you were able to just launch your own account, you probably wouldn't be able to get some things approved because of like the manual review process and things like that. That's one thing that I would say that TikTok has done really well. I can deal with the like not wanting to have certain products on the platform and things like that, or, for sake of not wanting, scammy marketing things, I can get down with that. What I can't get down with is not knowing why, right? And that's one of the biggest things that we've all experienced with Facebook over the last few years, right? Is like, okay, so you literally banned my account. You shut down my business manager. You shut down my page, my ad account, all the things. And like, I'm not generating revenue, right? And so, we've had our fair share of that over the years. If you haven't had a Facebook ad account banned at this point in your career, like, are you even trying? Like, that's the thing, right? So that's the one nice thing about TikTok, is at least they're very much more open with their compliance, and they communicate through that process.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I mean, trying to communicate with Facebook can be just challenging.
Yeah.
And then even when you do get someone like through Facebook Messenger on their support team, sometimes it feels like you're trying to explain things, like you're going backwards in the explanation process. It's like, are we talking about the same thing? So that's good to hear that their customer service is, like works with their consumer as well. Okay. So as we wrap up our conversation today, I know that you have a program that you offer to people who really need the support with TikTok advertising. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have Creative Testing Mastery, which is a one-on-one done with you program where we train media buyers or in-house marketers on how to become elite with their approach to paid social ads. I'm super passionate about this because I love working directly with marketers. They're kind of like my people, where we can talk all of our nerdy marketing stuff together. So Creative Testing Masterclass, is for anyone who's really looking for a refinement of their skills. Someone who is somewhat experienced with ads and wants to go deeper into an elite or mastery level with their media buying skills. So you can check that out at creativetestingmastery.com. And we really focus on core concepts around messaging and creative to get more success out of the platforms. We teach different testing frameworks and methodologies, and my personal philosophy, which is ad variable isolation, which is a very scientific approach to how to test. And we've had a lot of success with that. So appreciate you giving me the opportunity to mention that.
Yeah. And I know we have a lot of marketers listening to this. Now's the time to impress your in-house team or bring it into your agency. So I'll put a link to that in the show notes. That's at onlinedrea.com/208. You can find all of our links at that link as well. Will, where else can people connect with you online?
Yeah, of course. I'd love to connect with you guys on Facebook or on LinkedIn. If you just do a simple search for me, Will Perry on LinkedIn, always posting content, sharing different tips and strategies, that we're testing and using with, our ad accounts and things like that. You can follow me personally on Facebook or LinkedIn, or, I also have a William Perry Facebook page as well, that you can follow at as well for more great info.
Awesome. And I'll put all of those links in the show notes again, onlinedrea.com/208. Well, thank you for being on the show today.
Yeah, pleasure. It was great to be with you.
And thank you, dear listener, for tuning in to another episode of the Savvy Social Podcast. If you like the show, head on over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Give us a 5-star review. Helps keep us at the top of the marketing charts. We are still at the top on Apple Podcasts, both in the US and Canada, and now in the UK, Australia, and New Zealand. And that's all thanks to your support. Next week, I have Audrey Kwan coming on the show. We're continuing talking about the world of agencies and servicing our clients. And we're going to talk about how to build out the right team on your agency. Audrey helped me with my team and my business. I'm really excited to bring her on the show to talk more to you about that. That will be next week. I'll see you then. Bye for now.